All right, we're back at it, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I've seen the clock model before. If you've been watching all of the videos and following and listening along with some of the strategy models that I've been sharing with you, you've probably heard me talk about the clock model already. But I'm revisiting it because this time we're talking about a specific situation and how the clock model was used and why I think it's super important, especially right now with where we are at in the markets and kind of a counterintuitive move that some of the leading companies are making and doing super well that I think could be applied to a lot more industries and markets if it wouldn't be overlooked. So we're going to look at the clock model, then we're going to look at a case study, and then I'm going to kind of circle back and tie it all together for you. So once again, quick recap. The clock model, think of it as your customer or your employee if you're really looking at recruiting and retainment and applying some strategy there. They're right there in the center. And what we're looking at is all of the touch points that we have with them in pre-purchase, purchase, and then post-purchase as well. Now, keep in mind, when you get to executing on strategy, it's not going to look like this. It's not going to be 33% in every single category. One's going to be 60, one's going to be 20. Whatever that mix is that's right for your company, the opportunities in front of you, and specifically your market and where the opportunities are there for you to position yourself. A way to think about the clock model is over here on this pre-purchase, you have your website, social advertising. Then you have the actual purchase point where they actually experience that purchase. Maybe it's actually sitting down and providing a service. Maybe it's them picking it up in a retail location, whatever that is. If it's Amazon, it's actually purchasing it on the site. And then you have the post-purchase, your warranties, your touch points, your customer service, your ease of use and success of getting the problem solved, if you will. So that's a quick overview. This is how we create it, but we're going to talk about Apple and how this has worked for them. So what I want you to see here is the market cap for Apple in July of 2020. We had Samsung, Tesla, Verizon, IBM, and Abidaga, all of them could be fit inside of the market cap of Apple. So they're really knocking it out of the park here. But let's look at something. When you look at that, you wouldn't expect this to be the way it is. So look, some of those same groups are over here at the advertising expense. For industry standards, again, some of its biggest and most predominant competitors, this is incredible. They are at 0.8 billion in ad spend versus all of the other brands that are over 3. Just incredible. So how are they doing it? So if we also look at some other top brands, spending, break it down a little bit more, not just in the industry. We've got Disney over here. So top brands by brand value. So now we're not talking about the spending on advertising. We're talking about the actual value according to Interbrand. Look at this right here. And we saw some of those Samsung that we were comparing right there. This is one of those that was compared on that previous slide. So if we bought back here, we have Samsung, they're spending about over 3, almost 4. And then Apple down at 0.8. And we're going to circle all back around, tie this all together. Then we look at the value of the company. Look at that gap. That's 61 billion versus 234 billion. So this is what's happening here. Apple did something really, really unique. They went all in and heavily invested on their point of purchase. And if you'll remember in some of my other videos about the clock model, that point of purchase, sometimes if you're like a Starbucks or an Apple in this example, is like a temple to the brand. They spend millions of dollars to open just each one of their stores. And they've really invested in making that an incredible experience where people want to go in there. They get to touch and feel the products. And it's really part of their brand strategy and being out in there and engaging and helping people learn to use their products and really, really high touch points for the purchase and the post-purchase side. So they have decided to go counter from the market and not go crazy on the pre-purchase and really invest in that purchase and post-purchase. And it's paid off huge dividends for them. So I wanted to just share this example of how those the clock model, how it's being used by a specific company that we can all easily recognize, and really see how they've invested heavily down here in this purchase and on this post-purchase side, and really been able to have an incredible cost savings on this expense and ad side. So really powerful to think about this with your brand strategy and how maybe you could really set yourself apart and be different in the marketplace by deploying a strategy like this if it's the right thing for your business and your market.